please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Despite weak cues coming in from the United States, where the Wall Street took a pause ahead of the earnings season, the Asian shares are higher in trade.
Kalyan Jewellers has finally kicked off its IPO process. In fact, what we do understand from our sources is that the company is looking at raising anywhere between 2,500 to 3,000 crore rupees.
Bulls are in reasonable control of this market. The Nifty is respecting key levels. And once again, I think it's a matter of when and not if Nifty hits new highs.
Much stronger than what the SGX Nifty indicated. 10,000 easily taken and 10,013 where we stand.
Challenge for India is, you have some amount of macro headwinds now, both domestic and global.
Two fundamental changes that happened in the last 3 months, which was the GST and the registration under the RERA, the Real Estate Regulation Act of Haryana. So those are both behind us.
FDA so far has neither indicated the requirement for a re-inspection, nor have they said that they need any further corrective actions.
Reliance Infrastructure, Adani Transmission, yes, they have entered into an exclusivity period till 15 January 2018. Now, this is for the entire Mumbai business.
The South Indian Bank numbers are looking very, very difficult.
For us, so we're up around 0.3% currently for the Nifty.
Okay, holding on to 10,000 and mid-caps outperforming has been a good day for the bulls. This is closing well. I'm Anuj, with me is Surabhi. Hi Surabhi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Anuj. So I guess the good part, as you said, is that throughout the day consistently it's been trade above that 10,000 mark. The bears will want to argue that, but there's no momentum. We're not sort of moving with a gush of strength upwards. But looking at the mid-cap performance, how would you rate today's trade?
Yeah, on unexpected lines, we discussed this in the morning, that index may not do much. It may not have triggers to really force a move to all-time high for now, even though the trend remains positive. But the fact that mid-caps do well when the overall market risk is taken out. I think or the risk is low, let's put it that way. So I think the bulls get a reasonable degree of confidence that the market has made a bottom and is moved on, and it's only a matter of time before it goes to new high. And in that sense, mid-caps will do well. I think for me, what really stands out today is strong stocks are bouncing on all declines, and I think consumption stocks are doing well. So that means that the texture of the rally is intact, which is good news for the bulls.
Oh yeah, big stocks, Havells, Delta, Avenue Supermarts, a lot of these consumer-related plays doing very, very well today. Well, on that note, let's get you the headlines from the street. It's a steady day of gains on Dalal Street as the Sensex and the Nifty gain about 0.25% each. Mid-caps outperform, with that index up over 0.5%. Lupin is a top Nifty gainer today after getting the final US FDA approval for its hypertension and angina drug, Cordagrad generic. Biocon also gains after the US FDA issues a response letter on the company's biosimilar drug asking for more information. The management, however, tells CNBC TV18 that they're confident that the response letter will not impact the commercial launch timelines of the drug. Adani Transmission surges, Reliance Infra cools off as Adani Transmission enters an exclusivity period till the 15th of January to buy Reliance Infra's Mumbai City power business. South Indian Bank tanks 6% after reporting lower than estimated profit in the second quarter due to one-off provisions. However, slippages get arrested and net interest margins come in at a 7-quarter high.
Okay, how should you position yourself in this last hour of trade? Ashwini Gujral and Mitesh Thakkar now join us. Good afternoon. Ashwini, I'm tempted to ask about Havells first. That was one of your intraday calls, and really back to record highs on that one. But thoughts on the index first, and then your calls, of course.
See, Havells was in a sideways situation, and it's now breaking out. So my sense is 580 to 600 should happen. But the last hour call is really jubilant. Which after making lows and consolidating at 1475 is now moving back up, and a good possibility that we could get towards 1560 by the time we close. So that's a fresh call. As far as others are concerned, UPL is a buy with a stop of 800, target of 840. Edelweiss is a buy with a stop of 268, target of 284. Ashok Leyland is a buy with a stop of 122, target of 134. On the Nifty, I think today has been a narrower day than even yesterday. So today the range is about 35 odd points. Basically at some point these narrow ranges will end and the market will again expand. But for the day I should expect this narrow range to continue. Maybe tomorrow, given global cues, etc., we'll be able to move up. But I think the market now is back to equilibrium, and from here we need fresh information in terms of results, etc., to make a further move on the upside. Till then, maybe 9950, 10,050 remains that sort of range.
So Jubilant, Ashwini, you believe can go to 15.6? I mean, can be bought for last hour itself. It's because it's been a strong stock.
Yes, it is a strong stock and is coming back strongly from a decline. So chances of a last hour rally is very strong in Jubilant.
By the way, that's a big order announcement from Cochin Shipyard. Let's get the stock up as well because the stock is obviously reacting to it. It's a contract with the Indian Navy, 8 different vessels, and the contract value, the aggregate value is 5,400 crore rupees. Big move on the stock. It's of course a recent listing, and that contract value is just a big one. It's coming from the Ministry of Defence. I'm not sure how much money starts coming in the first year itself, but anyway, it seems to be a big one. The market's liking it. Mitesh also with us this afternoon as always. Mitesh, what's your prognosis? How have you read today's trade and what are the top stock bets?
So, good afternoon, Sophie. I think very clearly we've kind of moved up. I would have preferred, or I would have possibly expected slightly more or a stronger contribution from the bank nifty, though it's moved up. But that momentum is clearly missing. So, maybe around 24,500, 24,450, you would see the bank nifty kind of come into pressure. And if that level is not being crossed, then the nifty rally could halt around 10,050 or so. But for the time being, stock-specific basis, the breadth and the mid-cap stocks clearly suggest that the trading should be more on the long side. I have a buy on Sterlite Technologies. I think that's something which is moved up since last few minutes. But typically try to buy it around 235, 236 with a stop at 227. Look for a 255, 260 kind of target. And a conditional buy on Shriram Transport Finance, which I would want to see it get past the levels of 1,090. Buy then with a stop at 1,070 for targets of around 1,130.
Okay, Jubilant really is surging now. In fact, just looking at the stock now, 1535, 1555 is its previous high. So making a swift move towards that. But time for our Stock 360 segment, where we focus on a stock from all angles, including news, fundamentals and technicals. And of course, the stock of the day kickstarting the earnings season is South Indian Bank. Abhishek has the details.
So Anuj, the results are not as bad as they look. Look at the operating performance. Operating metrics have been strong for South Indian Bank. The net interest margin at 2.87% is perhaps one of the highest in recent times, at least for the last 7 quarters. Q3 FY16 is when the net interest margin was at 2.9%. You look at the loan growth. Loan growth is maintained at 12.4%. Last quarter it was at 12.8%. So above 12% the loan growth is maintained. Operating profit at 460 crores. Now this moved up 21% on a quarter-on-quarter basis, which is very strong given the fact that net interest margin expanded and other income also contributed. Slippages at 252 crores. Now this is on a declining trend. Q4 the slippages were at 1,150 crores. Then it came down to 686 crores and right now it stands at close to 252 crores. What was the miss in this quarter? So they made a provision of 252.4 crores. Now this was regarding the diminution in fair value of security receipts that they held on account of the assets sold to ARC or the asset reconstruction business. Alert is that the total security receipts in the book is 1,275 crores. Despite the fact that the stock has fallen 6 to 7%, you look at the valuation when compared to other regional banks, it is still trading at less than 1x price to book value, while others are at least trading at 1.5 or above. Back to you.
Okay, Abhishek, thanks a lot for that. SP Tulsian of sptulsian.com and Sudeep excuse me, Sudeep Bandyopadhyay with us. Good afternoon, Ms. Tulsian. First, your thoughts on South Indian Bank's earnings?
Not very exciting, but I don't think that this is the benchmark for taking a call on the private sector banking results, because if you would have seen the results coming in first for IndusInd Bank and Yes Bank, probably the things would have been different. But overall, if you take the call on the private sector banks, including South Indian banks, you may find it a bit disappointment, but it will be incorrect to judge the results, just on an isolated basis. Allow the other results to come. But as such, also, if you see, the stock has never been in the fancy of the investors and maybe of the funds and all that. So maybe the subdued kind of results, but not not a disappointment as of now on the private sector banking numbers to be seen going ahead.
Okay, all right. Let's just address that news that we got on Cochin Shipyard. The stock getting quite excited because of the large order win. Madhu Nair, CMD of the company, is with us. Mr. Nair, we understand that this total value is about 5,400 crores for 8 different vessels. When do you start executing this contract, and what are the sort of what's the payment schedule and the delivery schedule like?
See, this is 8 vessels of the same type. And we are just getting into the detailed process, and the contracts will follow after that. Once the contract is done, the first vessel is to be delivered in 42 months' time from the contract date, and thereafter 2 vessels every year.
So when will you be realizing the value itself? I mean, will it be in the current year, or is it going to be staggered?
It definitely is going to be staggered, and it will actually start from the date of contract, which will take some time because there's a process to be completed with the Navy and the MOD as we move forward. So today, in fact, it is just that we. Since we had this information, we thought that we should just go public with it. The other processes are ongoing in this regard.
Sir, where does this take your total order book to? And, what is the kind of margin you typically get for an order like this from the Navy? What sort of vessels are these? Is this a high margin order?
I'm probably not in a position to talk about the margins on this vessel, but this is a specialized naval vessel, let's put it that way, which is specifically for, as you see from the words, ASW is the name, so it's for anti-submarine warfare. And this tender has been ongoing for some time, and we are actually excited, and we are very pleased to have received this substantial order from the Navy at this stage.
So, sir, the other part of my question, where does this take your total order book position to, and how are you hoping the remainder of the year, the second half, to be? Is there a sort of guidance you can give us in terms of total order book growth?
We are we had an order book of around 3,500 crores with us, other than what we were to get from the third phase of the aircraft carrier project, which we are executing. So this order book takes it to about a 5,400 plus 3,500 is the current order book position, and the phase 3 of the aircraft carrier will flow in a bit more later, which we are not factoring into the system right now.
Okay, so 8,900 crores total order book as of now.
Correct.
Okay, any target you can leave us with for this year?
Not really at this stage. Consistent growth.
Okay, all right, Mr. Nair, thanks for joining in. That's Cochin Shipyard stock, obviously fairly excited. Let me just take maybe a word from Mr. Tulsian. Sir, I don't know, I mean, do you track the company since it's listing, and given what you heard from the management, what's the view?
See, positive view, and if you really compare it, it can be, one can compare it with the BEL or maybe BML kind of things, because both are again the PSUs, and the kind of growth which we have been seeing in Cochin Shipyard, and the kind of the orders they are catering largely to Navy and defense, that's really credible. So I'm keeping a positive view, but these are the consistent return giving kind of stocks, which you can have in the portfolio. As I've said, that BEL and BML both are, seen can be compared with the Cochin Shipyard. So keeping a positive view, and this recent news flow is also seen quite positive.
Yeah, 432 was the issue price. Decent demand, of course, on the stock, and now we're seeing a big surge. The other stock which is seeing big surge now is Biocon. Let's just pull out the intraday chart of that stock. 7.5% higher right now on the stock. So in the morning we were wondering whether the stock would be up or down on the news. I think that's the market's verdict, and respect that. 7% higher on the stock. Sudeep Bandyopadhyay is also with us. Sudeep, good afternoon. Thoughts on Biocon?
Well, Anuj, I think, we are absolutely right. We were not sure about the news which came in, but we understand from what our sources is that Biocon is very confident about, answering the queries, and it's being taken as a positive, and I think it's a step towards the final approval of some of their, products in the pipeline. And I think that's definitely a good news for Biocon. overall, I think the Indian companies are gearing up better to handle the US FDA queries and the processes. So I think pharma as a sector, I think we should start reviewing it once again. We can't just keep that sector out. I think things are falling in place for many companies, and Biocon definitely I think looks positive at current state.
Mr. Wilson, your thoughts on Biocon and the way it's surging now?
See, Anuj, I don't think that this rally is seen sustainable, because in fact we have seen a lot of what you call momentum, or maybe the fundamental increase in the share price, and that has gone with the profit booking scene and all sort of things. I'm not keeping a very positive view from buying angle that look on a relative basis. Maybe in the near term one can look for look to use this rally as an exit opportunity.
Okay, that's Biocon, one of the key newsmakers of today's trading action. On that note, quick break. On the other side, we will actually come back with a newsmaker segment where we will get you excerpts from our special series, CNBC TV18 Checks In, where Varinder caught up with Gagan Banga of Indiabulls Housing Finance. Stay tuned.